How much of the constitutional amendment passed during the Reconstruction era reflected in today's socially progressive movement, such as Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, and the 2015 New York City Pride March? Before we dive directly into the topic, we need a quick recap for the background information of these three significant constitutional amendments that were discussed during the Reconstruction era. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery inside the United States and the territories on December 6, 1865. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist inside the United States or any area subject to the jurisdiction, unless as a punishment for a crime for which the party should have been duly convicted. The 14th Amendment is the longest of the Reconstruction amendments. The first provision was stating that all individuals born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. Gender discrimination has been addressed by the 14th Amendment, which is currently in the forefront due to the immigration issue. The state ratified the last of the Reconstruction Amendment in 1870. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or restricted by the United States, or by any state on account of race, color, or prior condition of servitude. The most well-known Black Lives Matter movement happened in 2020. George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, was arrested on May 25 after a convenience store clerk called 911 to report that Mr. Floyd had purchased a cigarette with a fake $20 bill. Mr. Floyd was motionless and pinned beneath three police officers for 17 minutes after a first patrol car arrived on the scene, displaying no sign of life. The reality show blacks are disproportionately stopped by the police, searched by the police, and assaulted by the police, and are much more likely to be killed by police during a routine stop. The fact that George Floyd's murder inspired mass protests in dozens of cities across America underscore how police violence cannot be simply chalked up by one rogue officer, an isolated incident, or a few bad apples. Millions are recognizing the patterns. To date, reform measures have simply not worked. Congress have invoked 13th Amendment many times before, notably when criminalizing hate crimes and ending racial discrimination in property sales. If Black lives actually matter, the Congress must look into the 13th Amendment to implement radical changes to policing. The incident reflects the complete ineffectiveness of the 13th and 14th Amendments to even prevent this kind of tragedy from happening. If a cop can dare to violate the Constitution, then the lesson learned from the Reconstruction meant nothing anymore. The Me Too movement erupted on social media as a platform for survivors of sexual assault, harassment, and abuse to tell their story. After news leaked in 2017 about Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein, decades long mistreatment of women he worked with, the campaign garnered a lot of traction. Furthermore, by describing the Bill of Rights and guaranteed by the 14th Amendment, the right to bodily integrity is incorporated in the principle that the state cannot deprive persons of their freedom. Sexual assault can never be justified as a rationally justified legitimate state interest. The Me Too movement in recent decades reflects the weakness of law. The government paid no attention to solve the problem or even for enforcing new law that further requires the states to take more active action over the issue. The neglect over time has become a motivation for those criminals. The hashtag MeToo has abruptly increased in social media after the Harvey Weinstein incident. Women know their rights are not respected, hence, many of them only remain silent and accept all kinds of abuse from men. As a result, the loosening restriction of the U.S. history has clearly revealed that the 14th Amendment does not effectively solve the issue in the modern society. The New York City Pride March is a celebration of LGBTQ community, and it is one of the largest annual Pride marches, with tens of thousands of participants and millions of viewers each year. Individuals are guaranteed with equal protection under the law of 14th Amendment, which extend to all the public schools. Equal protection under the law applies to all students, which means that school must protect LGBTQ kids from harassment in the way that they protect other students. In Albertville versus Hodges, the Supreme Court eventually decided that preventing same-sex couples from marrying was a violation of 5th and 14th Amendments.
In a landmark decision, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that states cannot ban same-sex marriages.
In 2015 New York City Pride March, The celebration reflected the success of 14th Amendment that perfectly granted the people the right of same-sex marriage. It is people's right to choose who they are going to marry with, and the laws have no privilege to stop them from doing so. No matter what kind of marriage, everyone should enjoy the equal treatment. Overall, the 14th Amendment passed more than 100 years ago to actively protecting the rights of every citizen, regardless of their gender.